Welcome back, class. This video will discuss Lesson 2's vocabulary for this unit and also discuss how they tie into the unit as a whole. So your first word for this lesson is mood. Mood is a state of mind or feeling. We ended the last lesson's vocabulary slideshow by hinting or discussing the essential question: how do gesture drawings, a specific style of drawing, help capture the feeling, energy, movement, and action of a subject or of a person? And here we're focusing on mood specifically. So when thinking about that question for your central question, or as we are producing this lesson as a whole, you want to be thinking about what is the mood of your subject, of each one of your subjects that you're drawing. So here you can see the different poses and the different moods of each subject, each person here. Just like this figure here is sitting on a bench with his face in his hands as if he's thinking or really trying to figure out something. It is a much more serious pose, where over here you have more of a loving pose or embrace, where you have two figures hugging each other closely to represent affection. So the pose itself shows a specific mood, and I like these images here in the middle as well, because you can see these first two rows show different ways of posing as if you're happy. And then these poses here are different ways of posing that you can be angry, like you're about to kick something, or you're throwing something, or you just don't even know what to do with your body because you're just so stressed out. These are good references if when you're doing or planning your gesture drawings, you can refer to and create a pose in that way to help capture that mood. But mood has a lot to do with the pose of the figure in the drawing. So again, please feel free to come back to this slide as a reference for this unit if you need it. But we should be thinking about mood in each one of our gesture drawings, since that's what's guiding each one of those productions. Okay, going on to the next slide, we are now in movement. So depending on the pose, you're going to have some kind of movement. You may have no movement at all, or your character might actually physically be moving. So movement is the physical act of motion. There is another part of this definition for art I decided not to leave in. You do not need to write this down, but there also, an artist can talk about movement, the actual movement of the eye, and how the eye of the person, the viewer, looking at your artwork follows your whole artwork. So artwork as a whole, this artwork doesn't have a whole lot of movement aside from the figure. You would also want to think about the background too. But again, just for the purpose of this unit, we're just focusing on the physical movement, the active motion in your figures. So you want to be thinking about how any part of your figure is moving, even if it's just the single index finger. If someone's pointing at something, that's going to obviously send a different message than this figure here, who looks like they're almost in a running stance, like they're about to run a race or something like that. And then this would be the next pose of the person actually running the race. This person almost looks like they are free falling or something, or leaning up against something like a tree or something on the ground, and they're creating some kind of pose with their hands, like the peace sign. So depending on what your pose is, make sure that each part of the body is showing that specific movement to make that mood very specific and easy to understand for the viewer. Now, going to today's question, your investigative question, we want to discuss how does mood and movement help an artist create a specific feeling in the artwork. And I basically just discussed that in the last slide, about making sure your figure, the pose, is showing the exact movements and angles of the body positions to help show that mood in your art. And those two words, mood and movement, do ultimately tie into that essential question we discussed earlier and that we've been discussing about how gesture drawings as a whole capture the feeling, energy, movement, and action, and the specific angles of movement or motion, and the pose of the figure definitely help with all of that as well. So please make sure that you answer all three of these questions. This is your third question for the for the entrance ticket this lesson. That's the end of this video. Just make sure you answer all three for your 3 points. Please message me if you have any questions. I look forward to reading your responses. And at the end of this video, please check into the Lesson 2 instructional video so you know what to do for the art production for this part of the unit. All right, guys, I will talk to you all soon. Bye.